All right, let's move on to the next question. What do we got? This one isn't a question. This is just something I thought was awesome. A guy named Jeff Kalhagen, or Calhagen, contacted me. He said, "Hey Steve, so I basically bought everything you've mentioned in your videos. 60D, check. Rode NTG2, check. H4n, check. And thanks to your tutorials, I know how to use them. Still working on using everything well. Anyway, I thought I'd share with you my first project with my new setup. It's a 5-minute video about a hula hoop girl that I made for an internship. And the link is here. I'll put the link in the description. Maybe I'll annotate to it right here. It's vimeo.com/366763335. Thanks for the tips, Jeff." So I watched the video. The video looks friggin' awesome. I have to say, though, if you do watch it, he has experience with other cameras, and he moved on to DSLRs. Watching it, you can tell he has skills with editing, and he has skills with shooting. It's not that he didn't know anything and then picked up a DSLR and all of a sudden he made a great little short film. He had experience beforehand and decided to buy the DSLRs. Now, to go back to a previous question, Ninja Flip Kin and Tiny Mini were newcomers, don't know anything, and want to know where to go from there. My mentality for that is to beg, borrow, and steal. Just make something, and then when you're sure you know that this is what you want to do, and you're sure that you want to invest time and money into this career, into this field, then you can go ahead and take the leap to the 60D or the 7D or the 5D or whatever your budget can allow for. So, Jeff, thank you. I actually, in making this Ask Steve, I went to your Vimeo page and I saw that you have a lot more videos up since this hula hoop one. So I encourage everyone out there to check them out. And thank you so much for watching my videos, Jeff. And I'm very appreciative that you showed me this. And awesome. Awesome. All right, so we've gotten past the personal messages, and we're now on to comments. Some of them are questions. Some of them I think are just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So the first comment that I'm responding to is by someone named PetShari9. Excuse me. Okay. He says, or she says, this was a comment on my Multiclip tutorial video. If you don't know about my Multiclip tutorial video, you can check it out right here. It's one of my most popular videos. It basically explains how to make and use a multi-clip, which is you can shoot something with 4 different cameras, or you can shoot a musical performance with 1 camera from 4 different angles, bring them into Final Cut, and put them all in a window that you can see all the angles at the same time, and you hit play on the timeline and click on each box whenever you want to make an edit. And then you get to the end, and you go back to play, and you've made all those edits. Every time you click the box, it made the edit in the timeline. It's really awesome. It's really awesome. So if you want to check out the tutorial, check it out here. This is a question about that, and actually it's a problem this person's having. He says, or she says, my video is playing on the canvas, but my clips on the multi-clip window are not playing when I press the clips in the multi-clip and the canvas window pause. Okay. Canvas is the thing that shows your timeline. The movie's playing there, but the browser or the viewer where those 4 clips are is not playing. I've had this problem too. I had this problem because I was using my computers at work to do multi-clip and it wasn't working. And I spent an hour Google searching and I finally found the answer, and it's a very simple answer, and I hope this is the answer that fixes your problem. So let's go into Final Cut here. So here we are in Final Cut. Make sure down here, all the way over here where it says RT, oh hello, click the RT, and then make sure right here, make sure this multi-clip playback is checked. If I were to click this, it would turn it off. So make sure that this is checked. This little fucking thing right here took me an hour to Google search and find out about. I had no idea this was here. So I'm always learning things. I'm always learning things about this program. And what sucks is that I'm probably going to have to learn Adobe Premiere pretty soon, because Final Cut Pro is going downhill. Unless Apple releases a Final Cut Pro 8 and abandons Final Cut Pro X, it looks like I'm going to have to migrate to Premiere, because the company I work for is phasing out Final Cut. So it's a scary thing, but I'm probably going to have to take some lessons on it. And if anyone knows any tutorials on Premiere, please link them to me. So quick answer right there. I hoped that helped. But that's what happened on my computer at work, and that's what fixed it. So hopefully that's what's going on. Next question. This is a comment on my video, How to Date an Asian Woman. Now, how to date an Asian woman, that's a funny story. I took a viral video workshop where we had to create a viral video. This was like in 2008. This is before I owned my Canon 5D. This is when I owned my Sony V1U. My team came up with a concept of how to date an Asian woman. If you want to see the video, you can see it right here. It's okay. It's okay. I'm in the background of it, and I have hair, which is pretty nutty. But anyway, someone watched it because apparently they liked it, I guess. And they say, Mr. Tetris 88 says, "This was really funny." Now, in the video, one of the jokes, because it's a racist video, one of the racist jokes is about how Asian people eat dogs. I'm sorry, but there were Asian people in my team to make this video, so it was Asian approved. Mr. Tetris 88 says, "This was really funny. There is actually dog meat in China, but they don't eat pets. They have dog farms just like cow farms. Also, not everybody eats it. It's not too common. It's like in France, they eat horse meat. Every culture is different. The more you know." Let's move on to the next one. This one is from Stan Rose 2. This is a comment on my video, Filmmaking 101, How to Record High Quality Audio on a Budget. This is basically a tutorial about the H4n, the Zoom H4n. Now, I'm using it right now. I love this thing. Here it is. I'm using 2 lavaliers. I decided to get a little crazy. I wanted one plus a backup in case one fails, because I'm not really monitoring it right now. I mean, I can see it. I have this little tripod thing so I can see it, but I figured I have 2 lavs, might as well use them, right? So let me put this back down. So the Zoom H4n, if you want to learn, oh man, come on, there we go. All right. If you want to learn how to use that thing, go to my tutorial right here. It's pretty funny. Batman's in it, and this was before The Dark Knight Rises, but check it out right here. Batman's in it. But anyway, his comment. "When I record for syncing vocal takes to a pre-recorded CD playing via another audio player on location, what is the audio setting? My Q CD will be 44.1 kilohertz on location, but my post-production audio will be 48 kilohertz on my editor timeline. So what's the workflow for such a situation?" Okay, I know when CDs play out of a player, they're playing at 44.1 kilohertz. I know that, but I am no audio expert. I do not claim to be an audio guy, but I do know that CD quality is 44.1 kilohertz. Now, the Zoom records in many different settings and many different qualities. 44.1 is actually kind of low. The next step up would be 48 kilohertz, and in that setting you can do 48 kilohertz at 16-bit, or you can do 48 kilohertz at 24-bit. 24-bit would be more quality. And then the highest setting the H4n does is 96 kilohertz at 24-bit. I think you can do 96 kilohertz at 16-bit, but the highest setting is 96 kilohertz at 24-bit. Now, if you're going for high quality, I would assume that you'd put the H4n in the highest setting, the 96 kilohertz at 24-bit. I don't know why you would want to record it at a lower quality setting unless you're going to be recording for a long period of time. But a CD I'm assuming maybe you're only lip syncing one song. If it's one song, then wouldn't you want to put it on the highest quality setting? So let's say you have an 8 GB SD card. These Zoom recorders record with SD cards. So let's say you have 8 GB of free space to record. If you have it on 96 kilohertz at 24-bit, you have like an hour of record time. If you put it on 48 kilohertz at 24-bit, you have like 3 hours of record time. And if you put it on 44.1 kilohertz, you have like 10 hours of record time. So if you're doing one song, which I'm assuming, or even an album is only like 40 minutes, and you have an 8 GB card, and you put on the highest setting, you have an hour of record time. Why wouldn't you put it on the highest setting to get the highest quality? An answer might be that on my editor timeline, my audio will be 48 kilohertz on my editor timeline. Now, are you using Final Cut? I don't think so. You might be using Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton. Do you have to set your timeline at a certain kilohertz? If you set your timeline for 48 kilohertz and you drop in 96 kilohertz, does it screw up? I have no idea. But then again, couldn't you just record it in 96 kilohertz, and then if your timeline is 48 kilohertz, convert the audio to 48 kilohertz, throw it in compressor, or throw it in some sort of a program, an audio program that will down convert? So wouldn't it make sense to record in the highest quality, and then if you need to downgrade it, you can downgrade it? Next question. This is from Tom is Going Crazy, and it's a comment on my video, how to balance and use a Glidecam. Now, the Glidecam is a great tool. You can check out the tutorial here. I have a Glidecam, which is a camera stabilizer device, like a Steadicam, and I just recently bought the vest and the arm. It was a pretty penny, but it's much more professional, and you can do it for hours at a time instead of getting really tired using the Glidecam. Now the Glidecam, that tutorial is 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long, and it's an in-depth tutorial on how to balance the Glidecam. It's a very precise thing, but once you do it right, the shots you will get are phenomenal. They look like something out of a movie. They look like something out of a professional Steadicam operation. Here's the comment. Couldn't you just use a fig rig? What's a fig rig? I had to look it up. I was familiar with the term. I sort of remembered the term fig rig, but I had to look it up. Fig rig is basically a giant steering wheel, and the camera sits here. You hold the steering wheel with two hands, and the camera sits in the middle, and that's it. Couldn't you just use a fig rig? No! No, you can't just use a fig rig. The Glidecam is a precision tool that's counterbalanced, that you get weights. You have to make sure that it's counterbalanced perfectly. You have to do a drop test. You have to precisely move little tiny metal things that weigh less than a gram left and right, back and forward to get a perfectly precise balance so that when you move, the camera is fluid. If you're holding a fig rig, you're still walking. It's still in your arms. There's nothing isolating your body from the movement of the camera. No, you can't just use a fig rig. And a fig rig's like $450 or $300 or something like that. I don't know. But I'm sorry to yell, but no, you can't just. That's like saying I have a tripod. My camera, both of these cameras are stabilized. This camera's on a tripod right now, and that's like saying, well, can't you just get the same thing if you hold it in your hands? No, you can't get the same thing if you hold it in your hands because the tripod is still. The tripod's on the ground. It's static. Nothing's touching it. If I hold the camera in my hands, even if I wasn't breathing, there's still gonna be movement. So no, you can't just use a fig rig. Let's move on. Here we are. Next one. There's not many left, just 4 left. We're getting to the end. This is from Mayhem 001 Boats. I'm on a boat. comment on my video, how to wrap your cables. New filmmakers impress the crew. Awesome tutorial. I decided to make it one day. It was one of my first non-Final Cut Pro tutorials. Basically, I meet a lot of people on sets and stuff, whether they went to film school or not, and they don't know how to wrap cables the right way so that they don't get tangled. Check it out right here. Especially with XLR cables and sound gear, or expensive cables, you have to wrap them the right way for two reasons. One, so they don't break, and number two, so that when you take them out of something and you extend them in a long stretch, there's no tangles. It just goes. Works great with XLRs or BNC cables, if you even know what those are. Well, anyway, this is a comment on that video. And Mayhem001 Boats says, Steve, just like to say, you're one of the most interesting and knowledgeable presenters on YouTube. Thank you. I don't think so. But, well, maybe I do think so. I like how you spelled YouTube, too. You put a capital U and then tube. Awesome. He says, thanks for the videos. You're welcome. You're welcome. I love doing these videos. And then in parentheses, he puts a, pardon me while I pick my nose. And in parentheses, he has a question that says, any chance of a review of the Tascam DR05? No, I can't do a review of the Tascam DR05 because I've never used the Tascam DR05. But I've been on a shoot with someone who was using the Tascam DR05. I think it was the 05, might have been the 04, maybe. But the thing I can tell you about the Tascam is that it's almost exactly like the H4n. In fact, it pretty much is just another H4n. It does everything the H4n does at the same price. It's pretty much an identical piece of equipment made by another company. No one really ever heard of Zoom in the film industry, at least. No one ever really heard of Zoom before this came out, and then this thing got really popular with HD DSLRs and syncing system and all that stuff. But doing some research, you find out that Zoom has lots of different products, and it's very big in the music industry. And it just blew up with film. Tascam, on the other hand, Tascam has had a relationship with the film industry, and so it's a much more recognizable name for film people, especially old school film people. They've got, especially if you're an audio guy, especially if you're a film audio guy, you probably have heard of Tascam or had a Tascam in the past. So Tascam was smart. All these people buying these Zooms, you get the old school pro audio guys. They're like, oh, that thing kind of looks like a toy. Wait, Tascam's got something that's like very similar. Let me buy the Tascam one, because they know the brand, they like the brand, and they're brand loyal. So really the only thing I can tell you is that they're identical. Some people say the Zoom's better, has better quality. Some people say the Tascam's better. And I think it's like wine. Do you like red wine or do you like white wine? Some people say red wine's better. Some people say white wine is better. It's whatever you like. It's whatever you like. Next question. This is from Sean Allen on my video, how to directly transfer files from one Mac to another using target disk mode. Target disk mode. Target disk mode is a great thing. You basically boot the computer doing something that I don't want to say because you can see it in the tutorial right here. Please click it if you want to know, but come back and watch the rest of this. You turn a computer into a hard drive, basically. So like you turn the computer on and then it becomes in this like limbo mode. And then when you plug this computer into another computer via FireWire, on that computer, a little hard drive pops up. It's not a hard drive, it's this computer. It's really cool, especially if you want to transfer things really quickly between two things and there's no wireless internet or anything, if you don't have like a LAN system or whatever, but it's really cool. Anyway, this guy says, Sean Allen says, I got a Mac from my friend who just bought a new one. I want to erase his user account and start my own, but some of the programs on his I want on my new user account. How do I transfer from one user account to another on the same MacBook? You cannot. Apple's not stupid. Apple doesn't want people to give programs from one person to another. Apple wants you to buy those programs again. So there is a way for him, your friend, to transfer everything to a hard drive using Time Machine, and use it as a backup. And then when he buys a new computer, he plugs in that time machine, and it's like, hey, wait, is this your old computer? Do you want to download your old computer onto all the stuff from your old computer onto the new computer? And you're like, yes. And then you put in your password and password, and then now you have all your old stuff on your new computer. If you are that guy, if you take a computer from your friend, delete his account, but still want programs, that Apple would lose money, and there's no way Apple's going to lose any money. Apple's going to get money. And how does Apple get money? Because by not making stuff like this happen. So you can't do it. I mean, maybe there is a way to do it. I'm not a hacker. I'm not a whiz with things like this. Maybe there's some kind of crazy way. I'm not sure. So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I am going to say that Apple doesn't want that to happen because they would lose money. If he has Photoshop and you don't have Photoshop and he's giving you his old computer and you delete his account but you still want Photoshop, well then again, that's not Apple, that's Adobe. But still, Adobe's the same thing. Adobe, Apple, Microsoft, it's all the same shit. So it's going to be really hard. That's all I'll say. I won't say it's impossible, but it's going to be really damn hard. You're going to have to break the law pretty much to do it. Next question. 2 more. We're getting there. Maybe I can finish this in this clip. Chris Calleja, or in American, or as Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City, would say, he would say, Chris Calleja. This is a comment on my video, Filmmaking 101 3-point lighting tutorial. It's my most recent one, really. It's really great. Check it out. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I got access to a great studio right above where I work, and I did a great tutorial. I'm happy. I'm proud of it. I like it. Go watch it. Boom. So anyway, really quick because I want to finish this out. Hey Steve, I have 3 150 watt light bulbs and 3 120 fixtures. 120 watt fixtures? Is there anything I can do to make it work? You have 3 150 watt bulbs and you have 3 120 fixtures. Have you tried screwing the bulbs into the fixtures and see if they turn on? Maybe if they don't turn on, then I don't know how to make it work. I'm not an electrician. Maybe you can get 100 watt bulbs and screw them in, and maybe then they will work. Because if the fixtures are 120 watts, you didn't say what the fixtures were, but if the fixtures are 120 watts, get a 120 watt bulb or get a 100 watt bulb. Go to Home Depot. That's how you can make it work, I think. I got about 4 minutes. Next one. This is S. Clements 75. Comment on my video. Export in HD using compressor for YouTube. Custom file size. This, I feel, in my opinion, that video is probably one of the most helpful I've ever made. It's a way to get a video out the door, compress it, at a certain file size. You can dial in the file size. Now granted, if you dial in the file size and the file size is 2 megabytes and it's a 15-minute HD video, it's gonna look like shit, just so you know. But if you have 15 minutes of footage and you want to get it to like 1.5 gigabytes, there's a way to do it. If you want to get it to 1 gigabyte, there's a way to do it. But granted, you're gonna lose quality. But there's a point at which loss of quality is acceptable a little bit depending on what you're doing. But if you want to know how to do this, check out the tutorial. And he says, oh wait, I don't even think this is a question actually. He's just thanking me, which is awesome. So S. Clements says, thanks dude. Even though Final Cut Studio is going downhill, which it is, I just mentioned it, I'm having trouble with Adobe Media Encoder. So I needed to know how to do this in Compressor. You're welcome. I love ending the show with a thank you. Final Cut Studio is going downhill because of Final Cut X and the fact that Apple has abandoned the professional world of editing and adopted for a more user-friendly experience. There's a lot of things that Final Cut X doesn't do. We're all still waiting for firmware updates. We're all still waiting for software updates. I'm praying to Jesus Christ, even though I'm not really Christian. I'm praying to the Buddha. I'm praying to everybody that Final Cut X sort of exists on a parallel, and then Final Cut Pro 8's coming out. I think I'm just going to pray in one hand and shit in the other and see which one gets filled first. But yeah, he said that he has trouble with Adobe Media Encoder. I'm assuming that's something that comes with the Premiere Suite, which I'm probably going to have to learn at some point because of this bullshit. But it's good to know that compressor is still being used, so that's awesome. So you're welcome, S. Clement75, Clements75. And you're welcome to everybody. And thank you for sticking around and watching this video. It's been the longest I've ever done one cohesive thing. If you have any questions and comments, please send them to me. I will eventually get to them. As you can see, some of these comments go back months, so I really apologize for the delay. But please stay tuned for my focus tutorial, and stay tuned for scenes and things. I'm going to be writing some stuff. I'm going to be working on more projects. Stay tuned for more Dacasa film in the future. Please subscribe. Please send me comments, send me hate, send me love, send me whatever you want. Just keep watching, and please spread the word. I'm Steve Dacasa. Happy filmmaking. Peace.